Hello there, my name is Tenarium, and welcome to our 10th episode of Tenarium and Tryinmorning Talk VNs. I am as surprised as you that we've made it this far. With me, I have Patrick.
Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Patrick, aka Tryinmorning.
That's the first time that's been that long. AKA, I didn't even know you said that. And we have a guest this wonderful week as well. Please introduce yourself and try not to giggle too much. We have the lovely HusbandoGoddess, aka Christy, and a bunch of numbers after a YouTube name, which I don't remember.
Yeah, that's why I changed it. Hi guys, I'm Christy, HusbandoGoddess. I am amazing. Better than Chris and Tryin put together. I said Tryin? Wow. Patrick put together.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
I had to say something, so...
So, this is the point where you're supposed to plug your own channel, as we just rehearsed a minute ago. I said this a minute ago. What is it with people What is it with people we invite onto this podcast that don't know how to plug their own stuff? Like, I missed something.
You can find my stuff at HusbandoGoddess. I do a bunch of visual novels and all that amazing good stuff. You happy?
Sure,
I'm
why not?
also
Yes.
pro at knowing Clementine.
Yes, exactly. Well done. You've already done an in-joke, which at least 90% of the people listening won't get. So,
Everyone in the chat got it, so I'm good.
So moving on, this is the bit where we have to sort of evilly endear ourselves to the audience by saying stuff that we've done personally since the last podcast. Patrick, have you done anything exciting and world-breaking?
World-breaking news like streaming visual novels and that fun stuff. Oh, I actually started playing, what was it, Untitled Chapter, so I can plug that for now. Especially since I can properly plug things that's on your channel this time.
Yeah, exactly. Have you gotten scared yet in that game at all? Have there been,
I
any
get
scary
all the
moments?
scaredness. Yes, I'm pissing my pants every 5 seconds. I scream like a girl. No, I don't actually do any of that stuff, but it's been fun so far.
Do you have a face cam, and every time something happens, you sort of scream?
Yes,
over
we do
the top?
actually.
Do you scream?
We actually do have a face cam.
Do you scream over the top?
Me and my
though?
girlfriend are doing it together.
Have you?
So I
screamed
scream at the
over
top of my lungs. Yes, of course I do.
Awesome.
All
so
the times.
you know where to find that now. And Christy, what have you been doing since our last podcast, which was like a month ago?
Well, I just been trying to do my Let's Plays, like Corpse Party, Lost Dimension, and I don't know, Beach Camp, that game. I tried to finish up before I went to school, and hey, I finished one of them up, so that's a good thing. Sadly, it was the worst LP to ever be on my channel, but I finished it up now.
Beach Bounce was the worst ever game to go on your channel?
Oh, fuck yeah, man!
Oh, how fortunate you are. How so very fortunate you are.
Oh, I know I'm fortunate. I just look at your channel and be like, God, how is Chris still alive at this point?
If it helps, I don't know the answer to that either. But yeah, and this is the point I have to evilly endear, because I actually have something to talk about. I went to the lovely county of Tuscany. And if there's anything I learned about your son, it's basically, it was very, very embarrassing. Because we lived in, we went to very, very rural Italy. Like the kind of place where no one speaks English. Also, we thought, we went to a supermarket which was in a village, right? Everything is at least 3 hours away. Pisa, Florence, Rome, everything like that, 3 hours away. You cannot get further into the wilderness, right? There were dirt tracks in order to drive to our villa, right? The people in the supermarket spoke fluent English. We spoke no Italian. It was so embarrassing. We're just like, oh, mate, can we just have the, you know, the thing? Oh, what's that? Did you want the bag? Yeah, the bag. We're I'm sorry, we're not good enough to speak Italian. Went like this throughout, but other than that, had a lovely time in good old Italy, and now I'm back. But that's sort of why my upload schedule was a bit off for now. Yeah, I think we've endeared ourselves enough to the audience now, haven't we, by talking about our personal lives?
Incredibly so, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I think so. So, I've kind of renamed this section from the news section to Drama Section! So...
Fuck, man!
Yeah.
Oh, my ear.
I think that's
There've been a lot of people asking for this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I saw on 4chan someone mentioned it as a sort of news/drama section, and I was just like, do I cover anything which isn't drama? No. So, let's just get on with this, shall we? AJ Tilley! Oh, that's a name we'll never tire of hearing, and probably hear it a few times in the future. He has so many Kickstarter projects. Some have been cancelled, some haven't, some have been funded. But the only other things he's managed to churn out have been very, very subpar. He made Sword of Asumi. That was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah, Sword of Asumi, which I think was generally bashed by the critics. Although JP hated it, which I think just by law means I really need to like it, so this is an odd legal ground there.
Well, oh yeah. Well, you hated Beach Bounce, and GP hated it, so the balance is self-set there.
Yeah, there is that. So yeah, he made a Beach Bounce as well, which contained a load of errors. We're covering that game later on though, so we'll sort of like cover what errors it had there. But he hasn't really done anything of meaning, so he released a Kickstarter which was about gender bender. I can't remember what it was called. Cancelled it because he only wanted to go like 500 quid or something like that, which is 1.6, so at like 800 odd so dollars. Cancelled it, saying, "Oh, I didn't actually want to fund this game. I just wanted to know who my real fans were." Yeah.
What do you mean? Okay, sure. Whatever. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
We'll
like
go with that.
it's proper face desk sort of time. But regardless of whether he's been caught out on something and actually just wants to go, well, actually, it was a social experiment. Because I seem to remember there's this vlogger on YouTube called Sam Pepper, and he did this inverted commas prank video in which he touched girls' bums without their consent. That stupid shit. Yeah, exactly. And then 3 days later, he was like, well, actually, it was a social experiment because then I did it with a guy then I did it with a girl on guys and it was fine. It's just like, you fucking recorded that video after that happened. There is no way this is a social experiment.
And then he got so much shit for it, so... And then he did the girl, and then he's like, oh, it was a social experiment. My ass, it was a social experiment. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And this sort of AJ Tilley thing rings loads of bells about that. It was so dumb. So dumb. Basically, I mean, what can I say? Stay away. Don't back his games. I'd say don't back anything on Kickstarter, if I'm perfectly honest. Don't pre-order games. Like, I know I'm echoing Total Biscuit somewhat here, but it's right. Don't fucking do it. You get people like AJ Tilley who take the piss out of you. He's like, oh, well, I won't use Kickstarter now on from, like, until next year. We're in September. That's 4 months. Like, oh, well, I'm not using it for so long. How long? 4 months. That's not long. Like, there's, grumble, grumble, grumble. We've known about AJ Tilley for God knows how long. I was sort of, like, notified about it like at the beginning of this year, just how much he was taking the piss out of the Kickstarter, and people unfortunately only seem to be realizing now. I mean, better late than never and so on, but at least his project,
some people just never learn. Yeah,
at least his only project, the project he was doing, garnered like what, $1,500 or so, like 800, 900 quid. So it's nothing too major. Just stop doing his games. He's got so much. He's released 2 games, none of which was like successful. They were both bad games. That's not likely to change. You can see the good in anyone you want, but it doesn't change in people like that. So should we move on to the next news article? Marble syrup.
Oh, yes.
This is so much more sinister. Exactly. Oh god, so much more sinister. Right, AJ Tilley at least can sort of like walk back slowly and make excuses.
But these guys can't.
These guys can't. These guys can't. So, Marble Syrup, basically, they released a Kickstarter, I think. Did they release a Kickstarter? I think it was a Kickstarter.
They have a Patreon. I don't know if they have a Kickstarter. Maybe they do as well.
Yeah, they had a Patreon, but I'm not sure if they released a Kickstarter. They may not have, but regardless, they released a new game. And it turns out that the art from it was from a, like, 10-year-old or so...
Japanese
visual novel. And there was a statement released once this was realised going, oh yeah, well money exchanged hands and now we owned it. And a few people questioned that, because they were like, how? How did you do that? 2 days later, there was a Patreon-only post, and no one is yet to see this, but there have been several screenshots from several different sources all saying that, oh yes, this is actually legitimate. With Marble Syrup basically saying, oh well, I thought this might come back to bite me on the arse at some point. That's not an excuse. Like, he goes on to say, oh well, you know, it will never happen again, and I promise that I'll never do this ever again. You just said that, like, he puts on the statement, well, I did think this would come back to bite me in the arse. I was never guilty. I was just more scared of it coming back to haunt me. You're not filling us with confidence. He's not saying, oh, well, look, I'm really sorry. It was a stupid decision. I was naive when I was starting up the company. No, nothing like that. It was just, well, I don't really feel guilty, lol, if I'm honest. This apology amounts up to a Scooby-Doo villain at the end saying, and I would have gotten away from it too if it weren't for those pesky kids. That's not an apology. That's what it is. It's, so annoying. Like, I was holding my forehead genuinely the whole time whilst reading the statement. It's like, oh no, but people are still supporting him. Oh my god. Marble Syrup, this is their first game or second game, can't remember which one it was. What was the alternate name? It was something along the lines of, I'm stuck on a cousin with my incredibly attractive cousin who doesn't...
with my hopelessly hot cousin.
Yeah, with my hopelessly hot cousin who I want to shag but doesn't return my feelings or something like that. So you can see what kind of games they're in on, right? That's their market. It's the sort of, yeah, we totally pretend we like deep stories. Anyway, let's get on shagging our cousin.
I'm looking at their Patreon right now. They have 7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still getting pledged $7,331 up to the date, which is September 5th.
When I
This
saw
happened
this...
about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I was in Italy when it happened, and I think their Patreon was about $7,100. So they've gained money since this cock-up has happened. He didn't even say sorry. He literally just admitted, oh yeah, I stole it. I didn't feel guilt. I promise totes that I'll never totes do this again. And people are like, oh yeah, we'll still keep supporting you because you're such a great like artist. And so, no! He annoys me.
One of the biggest sorry and not sorries I've ever seen.
As I said, I would have gone away from it too were it not for those pesky kids. It was a rubbish apology. And then Akisekai.
This is a huge fucking story. Oh my god.
This is a huge story. And I'll be honest, right? JP over at VNsnow.com, he covered it so much better than I can. Right, so I'll post it in chat, and it's in the description for you now. You can read it much better there, because he does... anything I'd be saying is copying what he's saying, and that's sort of not frank. At that point, you haven't sort of read something and made your own conclusion. I just read what he says, and I'm copying what he says, so I'd encourage you to go to his site and read it there. Basically, they stole art from a concept artist. They used some guy's concept art and didn't pay him or credit him. And then he sort of made a big deal about it on Twitter and said their whole Kickstarter is based off like lies and so on. It's a bit melodramatic, but the point's still there. You can't just steal art of someone. That's not how this works. And JP's article goes far deeper than that. It's definitely worth a read, but
yeah, he does a lot of research, talks to people who are connected with it, and it's a long read, but a lot of information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does his normal thing. He's a proper journalist, unlike us who are critics and just sit here behind our desk going, "This thing is bad." So he actually sort of like goes into the depth and speaks about it in great details. But basically, Akisekai fucked up. That's the only way I can think of summarizing it nicely. They done fucked up. So again, moving on to the next piece. Patrick, when was it we ordered... we announced that Sakura Dungeon were coming out and Sakura something else. Sakura Clicker. When was that?
Yeah, that...
Like 4 episodes ago?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they've announced a new game. No, really, they've announced a new game.
It's pretty much the case of every new episode there's a new Sakura game to mention.
Yeah, like every other month. Oh, this new soccer game coming out. I don't know how they work that fast. I don't know.
Basically, the very low quality in them. But they've announced a new game, and it's called Sakura Swim Club. Just, it's face desk sort of quality style. Oh, it's painful. It's exactly what you'd expect from WingCloud. If you want to get cock-teased through a very bad story for a great while, then it's probably worth your money. However, if you're a normal human being with sane taste, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's becoming a parody of itself at this point. You know, like you see in first-person shooters how there's that sort of thing about them where it's just like, yeah, you can drink Red Bull and Mountain Dew and eat Doritos whilst you're playing our first-person shooter. Yeah, look how manly you are, right? And there was that sort of stereotype going around. WingCloud now is just a stereotype of itself. By doing this exact same thing, you have girls, and I think there are two girls in the promotional art, and they're sort of against each other, and their boobs are pressed against each other, and the boobs don't look right. They just look distorted, right? I think you showed me that, didn't you, Christy?
Yeah, I did. I showed you that.
Yeah, the boobs don't look normal. They just look distorted. It's exactly what you'd expect. Nothing's gonna change. It's like, imagine a really bad Telltale who didn't even do anything good to begin with. That's what this Sakura game is. Awful.
Yeah, and like, I was realizing that uniform. I forgot which Sakura game this is, because I avoid WingCloud like the plague. But their boobs are just so emphasized by their blazers, because I don't know what's up with their uniforms. I guess it's just not big enough for them, but their boobs are just out there. And I was talking to JP, like, they should make an ultimate game where the pants are so tight on dudes, their junks is like exploding out on you, out on you. And when the dudes are just fighting, their junks are just against each other, like borderline, like BL. So it's like for everyone,
Yeah, I was speaking to a person called Michelle Huang on Twitter, and she said it's just a matter of time until they release Sakura. I can see that coming. I'm gonna say it now.
I feel like that would be like an April Fool joke next year.
Yeah, or even just something like that. But I can totally see it happening. It's Sakura. It's going to come at some point. But yeah, I mean, they've released several games this year, and they go for another one. When release cycle is that short, just think about the quality of the game. Genuinely, because it's not going to be that good. And if you want to get turned on, there's free porn on the internet. You don't need to spend $15 on these people's games. It's there. It's free.
But Chris, I want to spend 99 cents on new costumes for my girls in Sakura Cooker. Why can't I do that, man? I have the liberty.
You do have the liberty, but I will judge you for doing it.
Don't forget you have to pay also another $5 to get the access to the work in progress illustrations from Marble Syrup from their Patreon, and how they get those work in progress illustrations, I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so dumb at this point. I think for next point of news, Snow Light. This is a game I covered on my channel, and basically, I imagine in its own language this made complete sense, but when it was translated to English and the translation's so bad, it's one of those things where if you had an error counter for, like Christy, you did for Beach Bounce,
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to count it. It's so many errors. It's just...
I watched your video, and I was just thinking to myself, this is hilariously bad. The art and everything, Jesus.
Exactly, the art's bad, but it's the translation which is poor, because you can get over a good art if it's half-decent sort of story, but it wasn't. It was so bad. It was just translated terribly. It now costs 93 euros on Steam. It is one of the most expensive games on Steam outside of like DLC, software and bundles. Right?
And
take those out, it's one of the most expensive games on Steam. 93 euros. And the reason I know this isn't a bug is because it's going on for like 2 months. I saw it like 2 months ago. It was 93 euros. JP from VSNow.com showed it to me the other day and was like, hey, this is still 93 euros. You do realise this, right? No, I didn't. It's still 93 euros. This isn't a bug at this point.
Yeah.
They're just hoping that some poor soul might try and buy it. Luckily,
Oh, but they commented on it. They commented on the price. They're like, oh, Steam's charging me for fees and everything. But then when you look at the forums or something for the game, they're like, we're working on it. We're working on fixing the price. It's been a month. What do you mean you're working on it?
It's been 2 months. It's
2
been
months.
2 months.
Oh!
It can be changed, right?
Easily.
It can be changed. It's this is so dumb. It's just excuses, and they sort of hope that people don't know, like, how difficult it is. But it's not that hard. It really isn't.
If you go on their site, they have, I forgot what site it is, but it's like that, like every, let's say where everyone puts their visual novels up on these days, it's show whatever. And it's $7 there. So if you want to pick up this terrible game for some reason, you can pay $7 for it on that site. So go ahead, do it. Dare you.
But it really makes no sense, especially because now that Steam has a whole refunds policy where it's easy to do. Like, what are they expecting? I just don't understand it all.
Yeah, you can't even trick people nowadays into buying these things, because like as long as you don't play more than 2 hours of it, you can just cheat and refund. So whatever. Next bit of news. Tyranno Builder Game Jam is on. There is 5 judges for it, so you have to make a game in the Tyranno Builder engine. And boy, it's I've looked at the judges for it. We have, I shit you not, Jeremy Miller from Dischan Media. Now you might recognize Dischan Media.
Why will we have him?
I don't know. I don't know.
This
is the first time I'm hearing about this. Like, I know about the game jam, but I didn't know about who were the judges. And why is he there? He shouldn't.
I don't know. He has one credible game in Juniper's Knot and then never failed to deliver on the hype on the back of that. He failed with dysfunctional systems. He failed with Cradle Song or whatever that was. And yeah, never really got anywhere. And the other 2 there's one other judge who's a Sekai producer, so they've never made a game, and there's one other person. Oh yeah, Human Reignition Project. That's the other one.
Yeah, skip Sekai and that
yes.
guy.
One of our favorite projects.
Yeah, Human Reignition Project. Again, hasn't made one. Wouldn't know. It's... yeah, as I said, but the other 2 credible judges, genuinely really credible. Moa Cube, Tom Grochiak, he made Cinders. Right, that is a guy you want looking at your game. And Georgina Bensley from Hanako Games, who made those Long Live the Queen, Magical Diary, Black Closet, a myriad of different really successful, good games. So yeah, there are sort of 2 credible judges. Now, that's not to say that people like Josh Kaplan and these people from Sekai aren't, but they haven't, they haven't publicly stated that they've ever made a game before.
You need people who made visual novels to be the judges.
Yeah, exactly. Not people who just promise something. If I wanted people who promise something, I would have... I'd back people on Kickstarter. But
Should we just have A.G. Tilly in there as well then?
Yeah.
At that point?
Why aren't they adding A.G. Tilly?
Get the guy who wrote Beach Bounds, please.
Oh, I don't know why they are adding A.J. Tilly. Ugh, Jesus. And in other news, Manga Game get a uncensored version of a game.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof. They get that onto Steam. Now, I don't know much about this story. However, I can't help but think that if Steam knew, Steam wouldn't want it in there.
They somehow got around it. Like, I can quickly explain the plot. Basically, there are these 2 ghost girls. They fall in love with each other yet, but they don't know how to show that, like, sex-wise. So, they are at this, academy for girls, and they can only be on the roof. So they try to lure these girls up and have sex in front of them so they can finally know what to do or how it is or something like that. Basically, that's Kindred Spirits on the Roof in a nutshell. Yuri game, woo.
Yeah, and this got onto Steam uncensored. So if you buy it now at the time of recording, which is the 5th of the 9th at 8 o'clock European time, Central European, you can get it uncensored. However, I imagine that probably won't be for long. Because
Yeah,
even
no,
though
Steam.
certain sex scenes are softcore, I read. Oh, sorry, someone just pointed out in chat. Exactly. There's certain sex scenes are softcore. There's no sort of explicit. Steam's policy on this is just nothing. Nothing. Maybe you can have a little bit of boob, but that's it. You can't have anything else. It has to be either like censored or somewhere. Honey Pop was kind of pushing it too. Yeah, but you didn't see
they didn't have
you didn't see any
sexing.
naked. Yeah, you didn't see any anything which was nude in Honey Pop. You had to get the uncensored version off Steam. Right?
And that was only, like, in the uncensored version, they really only had the panties off, and that was it. When the all ages, quote-unquote, the bra was off.
Yeah, exactly. So I
that was it,
kind of figure that even though it's uncensored, yeah, as I said, you can have boobs, but you can't have anything else. So I kind of think they'll just realise and stop it at some point. But
Yeah.
it is on there, and if it hasn't been remedied by the time that you've heard this and that game really excites you, then why haven't you looked for more games like that off Steam? But it's now on Steam, so if you're really lazy, there's a game for you. Now, Christy, this is the point where you wanted to say something.
Okay, so, Patrick, you already know. You already know. But I'm going to issue a challenge for you. Just for you. So,
All right.
on Steam, I've sent you a game called Tokyo Hosto, and it looks like a gem. It looks like something you should Let's Play. And if you do it, I have to do something in return. I don't know what. You can make it up, but I'll be really extremely
You
happy
might
if you
just
that
want
game.
to add on the end of that it has to be something game-related.
Game-related, please.
Yeah, I
Game-related.
figured as much. But yeah, Chris's mind went there, of course.
Hey, I
course.
was just saying what the people were thinking.
I don't think anyone
You're a man of
was
the people,
thinking
after all.
that.
Yes.
Hey, I'm a man of the people, Christy. It's not my fault.
But yes, let's play that game. Are you sure of that? She can be on there. That would be amazing, but I doubt she'll look at the quality and be like, I don't want to do this, so you might have to get...
Yeah, so
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. See how it is.
so basically,
Cool.
JP genuinely sent me this like a week ago and went, hey, Chad is spoiling it for you, Patrick. Ignore it. Don't read it. So
Don't read
Ignore
chat,
it.
alright.
I played this game like 3 years ago when it originally came out on someone else's Xbox, right? So it's an Xbox Live Arcade game, and JP sent me it. I was like, wow, it's made its way to Steam, Jesus. But I'd totally watch the shit out of you LPing that. So,
Oh, it'll
yeah,
be
it's a
amazing.
challenge that you have to accept.
I see I have no other
Yeah,
choice. I must accept.
And I get to play a bad game in return, so... You know, there's a little
That's a fair
treat for
trade-off.
you. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah!
And where can they find an LP of your game, Patrick, as no one seems to be wanting to fucking self-promote themselves?
Since no one by now has figured out where my channel is, it's on
After 10
youtube.com/Tryinmorning. Also, Chris, I will request him to put a link in the video or on the description, which hopefully he'll do.
Well, I've done it for the last 4 videos, but I'm going to stop deliberately for this one.
Of course, I figured.
Yeah. But yeah, that is pretty much the news/drama section. It was quite long since we had to skip an episode because I went on holiday for 2 weeks. Selfish me. Should we get onto the games that we covered?
No, let's just keep talking about drama that's non-existent at this point. Let's keep going, Chris.
Let's keep talking about what which is non-existent.
There's so much drama to talk about, but we
So
cannot
much
get into all
drama.
of it.
Let's make drama.
Let's
you
make
go.
drama up. God. Did you
That'll
see
definitely
the
get
other
us
day
trouble.
Patrick accidentally hit record on his live stream when he was shagging a sheep the other day? That was pretty embarrassing.
Really? Whoa, Patrick.
What's Scottish? What are you
I've said
talking
that
about?
before.
It's Welsh.
It's Welsh. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, yeah, someone just pointed out in the chat, Jimmy Kimmel levels of drama. So sure,
Oh, that thing?
tell us. Yeah, I ignored that for the most part because I mean, let's face it, it's not Jimmy Kimmel writing it, is it? It's just his writers writing it, and then he has to repeat it, and then loads of old people are like, I know, am I right? God, these young kids nowadays, they're totally weird and we're the normal ones. But, you know, that aside, Patrick, why did you side with Jimmy Kimmel in this argument?
I don't know. I have no idea that I even did that, so that's shocking drama to me as well.
You told me in Skype chat, and it's your word against mine. So, you are...
I know.
Unfortunately, I'm right.
I mean, why the hell are you guys watching this right now? What the hell are you thinking? Don't you have anything better to do? Like, play games on your own? Play visual novels on your own? God.
Yeah, man. But Chrissy just tweeted that the drama section is over and we're going into games. So, should we go into games?
I think it's about time.
Shall we?
Yes, and the first game to be covered is to be covered by yours truly, Patrick.
Yes, that's very, very true. So, one of the games that we covered this week, or I should rather say over the last month, because I actually played this one quite a while ago, because we got the key for it, I think back in, was it July or early August? I don't remember.
I think it was early August.
Early August, yeah. So I played that one quite a while ago, and it was called Queen at Arms. Now, this was a game that was recommended to us by a few people, and I gave it a shot. So, Queen at Arms is a game where you play the role of someone known as Marcus Cordell. And Marcus is, in fact, a woman who's disguising herself as a man and serving in the army. Now, it wasn't really clear right away, you know, why she was in disguise. And I think like the first time that I played, and I think Chris said this as well, we kind of thought that it was just in order to get into the army and masquerade as a man was the way to do it. But apparently the army in this game is very liberal, and even in medieval ages, they let anyone join, even if you were a woman, which is pretty forward-thinking of them.
They never directly say that you had pretended to be a man since very little. They just sort of imply that you had to be a girl to get into the army, which they don't really rectify until like sort of chapter 3.
Because,
yeah, it took a while. I kind of assumed in the beginning it was a move on type thing.
Also,
yeah, go on.
Some people like this, sorry, just have to say, you can name your character something different.
Ah, yeah.
So, Patrick, what did you name yours?
I'm boring. I just keep the standard names in most of the things I do.
So he fucking named his character Marcus. No one does that. I don't know who does that, but no one does that. No one names their character the default thing, right? Ever. Even if it's just a slight change, they have to change it. I named my character Dave Daveson, as is customary at this point. But I didn't realise that it came with a surname as well, so I was known as Dave Daveson Cordale from there on, which is a bit odd. And Christy, you had a odd interaction with it.
Yes, so I named my character Christy, 'cause that's my name. And if you happen to name the main character a girl, the guy will, they will say, "Is that truly your name? Are you joking?" And you have the option to go back. Unlike if you pick a male name, you just go straight ahead with the story. You don't have the option to go back. I'm like, oh, that's so neat. So cute.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. As we were saying earlier, that you can name your character anything, but you are a girl pretending to be a guy. So yeah, when Christy tried to put in Christy, it was just like, hey, do you really want to be known as a fucking girl's name, you fucking weirdo?
I still went with it, though.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that.
Very clever, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And the game, I presume, had a load of sort of like listed names that it just sort of like copied and pasted over that checked you every time one of these came up, which basically I sort of think is a measure of detail that they showed to this game. This isn't a rare occurrence, other than the slight oversight as to them not quite explaining why you're being a girl. But I mean, other than that, this game does have a lot of detail.
It really does.
It's a proper visual novel. You get a lot of choices, and they definitely matter. Most of them, anyway.
Yeah, you do get these, I mean, again, inverted commas, quick time events during certain things where you only have like 20 seconds to make up your mind. But as someone who, how to put this nicely, plays card games at a very high level myself, that isn't really like a small amount of time. A lot of people will see 20 seconds and sort of panic, but once you realise just how long 20 seconds is, you have all the time in the world to sit there and analyse every option you want. 20 seconds
Plus,
is
you can
huge.
just easily pause. I mean, and you can just roll back quite easily and just insert the counter.
Shh, that's cheating.
Tax, man.
Well, then
Tax.
I cheated death a lot of times.
I did too, but you're not supposed to let that on.
I'm bad at this. Fire me. I'm never going to be on this podcast again.
Yeah, we'll see how you do first. And I joke. We'll invite you on again. But
Aww.
but yeah, like 20 seconds is a lot of time to sort of make your mind up as to what you want to do. So like the cuties never become too obnoxious. But I mean they're quite cool. They got this patch thing. There are a lot of choices in this game. Like a bearingly lot. And from what I can tell, a lot of them matter. Because
Yeah, definitely.
there are, again, like inverted commas, routes you can go on, but they don't necessarily affect the story that much. So,
Definitely comes into play at least towards the ending, which
Yeah,
I know you didn't
chapter
get to play the
4,
whole thing,
I
unfortunately.
looked up, it's like chapter 4 is when it finally starts getting into the romance, while 1, 2, and 3 is just like, you have to build enough points in order to get on the path, or route.
yeah, exactly. There's no sort of, do you want to read the comic with the man or do you not want to read the comic with the man? And, you know, it makes absolutely no difference. There's no sort of decisions like that. Every decision, to a certain extent, matters. There's no decision which is completely irrelevant. And the ones which don't even go into routes, you learn certain information that you wouldn't have otherwise learned. So very early on into the game, you see two soldiers and you can either eavesdrop into their conversation or not eavesdrop into their conversation. And if you don't, you just sort of go to bed and be like, oh, whatever, you know, just gonna chill. But if you do eavesdrop into their conversation, you can hear that not all soldiers are as informed as to where everything is. They more rely on propaganda to sort of heed themselves on. So they're sort of drawing a map and everything is in the wrong place. You know, it'd be the equivalent of being like, you know, oh yes, well, United States of America is where like Singapore is. You know, they're just miles off. And then you have an option as to whether to correct them or whether to not correct them. And that will go into how influential you come as to whether you do or do not. Like, everything matters. And even if something doesn't matter, it just matters lore-wise. Or, you know, you get a general feeling as to how the camp is around you.
There's like another instance of that. It's like very early on. You get to talk to the soldiers, or now I just go straight to bed. And if you do, you get to learn their names. And I believe it's either chapter 2 or 3 where one of the soldiers you talked to that day is finding another. And if you talk to him, you found out his name. You like, what are you doing? I believe his name was DeWitt or DeVitt or something.
DeWitt.
DeWitt.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing this. And he's like, and he recognizes you and everything. And you kind of have this little moments you wouldn't have otherwise. I'm like, oh, that's... So the choices, even if it's the smallest detail, do matter. They do show...
It does affect your relationships.
Yeah, exactly. There was this Mike Bithell. He's an indie developer. And he says that the best way to reward players who have found secrets is with more gameplay. Don't just give them sort of stat rise. This game does that perfectly, even if it's just lore or more gameplay that you wouldn't have otherwise had. This game does that very well. But yeah, anyway, Patrick, would you like to get on talking about the game before me and Kirsty interrupt you anymore?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, at the heart of the game is a conflict between these two different regions. There's Orthera, which is the overall kingdom, and then there's Silgard, which is kind of this more subjugated part of the kingdom. I guess you could say it's kind of like a England to Scotland in them olden days. At least that's what it kind of seemed a bit like to me. So Silgard is rebelling against Orthera, and you overall become involved in that conflict. And without saying too much about it, the decisions you make, at least for the most part of the game, are more based on supporting your side, which is, even though you're Silgardian, you're supporting Orthera because your father was a famous knight that served in their service.
Yeah.
So during the course of the game, you have to kind of go along with it. Although towards the end of the game, you get more decisions if you kind of want to break away from that. And that I kind of liked towards the end.
Yeah, see, because of time restraints, I got to the end of Chapter 4, so I didn't see the end, which I'm definitely going to do after this podcast. Genuinely, I'm not just saying that. I will sit there and just play through the end of this, because it was a delight. But I am going to go on and do certain things, but, I mean, Patrick, you said that you can sort of break away from the name towards, like, you know, Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. I found that you could do it...
Yeah, I don't want to say too much.
I found that you could do it probably earlier than that. Like, depending
you
on
might
how
be able to.
Yeah, depending on how you're playing it, like I was playing it, you can get away from that shit really early.
Oh, that's interesting to me, like, how much the story can differ, because I only did a few different routes, and I only kind of diverged towards the end, so I didn't know you could really change too much early on.
Yeah, I was trying to do something very specific. So in you can't give away, you can't talk about this game too much without giving away spoilers, so we shan't. But I tried to do something a little bit different in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, so I replayed it like 4 times, just trying to find out everything I could. And there are completely different ways you're doing it. Like, you can interact with certain characters if you choose to ignore other characters, and even I would argue that even the game tries to take you off the path I was trying to go down, because there's this moment where you can either get an option to go with someone or whether you can go back to camp. And I said, no, I don't want to go with this person. I want to go back to camp. And then the game asked me, are you sure? Do you definitely want to do this? Do you want to stick to your guns and do this? And I was like, no. I just want to leave. And the game was like, okay. And then I found and spoke to someone that I probably shouldn't have. I mean, the game is really cool like that. Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Christy?
I don't. I'm in Chapter 3. Does it happen in Chapter 3, or...?
This happens in Chapter 1.
Like, Chapter 1? Oh!
I think I know what scene you're talking about, but I didn't see that happen. So I'm definitely going to have to replay this as well.
I didn't see that happen either, so I'm thinking about... Oh, no, don't remember.
And for those people who are only sort of superficially interested in the love interest because they're really shallow and don't actually like a proper story, I can tell you about the love interest as well. You get the, just to introduce the characters a little bit, James, who's the mechanist. And, I mean...
Yeah.
Did you ever play... What was the mechanist's name in Icebound? Did either of you guys play Icebound?
I have not.
I never played Icebound.
Because I want to call him James as well, but I can't remember whether it was. But basically, it was pretty much like that, right? He was just sort of absorbed in his own sort of little world and laid back. There's the Archmagus? Magus?
Yeah, Archmagnus... Ramus? Or someone...
Archmagus Rubus, that's what I have down.
Rubus, I said Ramus.
Archmagus, yeah, he's there. He's a mage who's sort of somewhat restricting. Something happened between James and the Magus, but you don't know what unless you start inquiring into it. I didn't, because my path, I felt, sort of required me to ignore that. There's the Prelate Lucius, who I sort of gathered to be as head of the clerics. I couldn't really tell what his position was.
He basically is the head of the clerics. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, so head of the clerics, there's him. There's Prince Alastor as well, who's the king's son. And he's sort of a little bit extravagant and doesn't sort of really fit
a bit eccentric, extravagant.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really fit into his role very well. And then there's Loremette, who is... I'm going through all the romance options.
Wasn't Nick one of them, or?
I looked on their Tumblr. Your brother isn't one of the romance options.
Oh, thank God! 'Cause
I guess
thought
that's
the game
good to
was
know.
like pointing me constantly. I'm like, no!
Yeah, no,
Freedom.
Nick is... Your brother is not a romance option. You can speak
Thank
to him
God.
quite a lot, right? And again, you can play this game if you're not into sort of like romance-focused stories. You can fucking play this game like it was a proper story. You don't have to fall in love with anyone. That is completely doable, right? Just speak to whoever you want, whenever you want. You don't have to fall in love. It's completely fine. That doesn't mean you'll end up on a bad ending where people kill you, right? It's perfectly fine. You could do that whatever you want. It's one of the things I like about this game. So you can constantly go to sort of like your brother Nick for counsel and advice and so on. But yeah, the other one is Laura Metch. She was one of the ones I was trying to go for, and she is a knight of the opposing army who is around you when the...
She's a romance option. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And when the two factions are sort of trying to negotiate at the beginning, she's like constantly around all the time. Yeah, exactly. The brother has a kinship/friendship route, as someone just said in chat, Leriana 3.
Thank
But
God. Woo.
it does just let you do that. If you don't want to play it romantically, if you don't want to go down any route, you can just play it for the sake of story. Like, as I said, like, in the beginning of the story, you can eavesdrop as, like, for lore. And then you can eavesdrop even later on, or you can figure out the morale of the troops, and so on. It doesn't have to be a romance game. You can just play this as well. We're maybe sort of facing into war, but we're not quite sure, and going from there. It's really good. Now, Patrick, you're the only one who got to the end. I'm going to do it after this stream. How did you find it?
I enjoyed the ending, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, this would be a bad time to say that, oh yeah, the ending was shit and you all shouldn't play it. This would be a bad
it's actually
time.
very, yeah. No, I enjoyed it all the way through. I definitely liked the ending because, like I said, I did a few things, variations of the route I was on, and I tried experimenting with another route as well. And yeah, I got one ending where I was involved with the character I went after, and then another ending where I kind of did my own thing, and was my own person, which was also interesting. I mean, that's not to say that if you do a romance ending, it's not like your own person. The character is a very strong character either way by the end of the game, at least considering the options that I made. So it's very nice to see that, you know, it's one game where the whole romance isn't the core of the entire story, which unfortunately happens very, very often in visual novels sometimes.
Far too often, it's ridiculous. Also, something to warn you of, the game is called First Edition, and there are several episodes in inverted commas. However, if you buy the game, all episodes are included. You will never get any sort of situation in which they're all, you know, oh yes, well this is only episode 1. No, it's none of that. You will always get the complete
full
story. Because
Yeah,
that was
and
something I
you
was
get-
sort of wary of. Sorry, go on, Christy.
I was gonna say in the first, like, in the next edition, there is a character you can romance. I think it's Spy Master Fox or whatever, that is with the prince early on. You meet him. He's a very quiet dude. He's an extra romance option that's gonna be later added this year. Don't know when, but there you go. He's there.
Yeah, as I said, it's just a very good game. I mean, I'll put it this way. If this doesn't end up on my top 5 games of 2015, something really wrong would have had to have gone down. Right? Either they'd have done something terrible, or just 5 fantastic games all came out at once, which were even better than this. It would be a shock. How much is it? Is it like $9 or something like that?
It's $10.
I'd have to double check.
USD.
$10. Yeah, exactly. $10 for a game like this. I mean, what? It's like 8-9 hours, isn't it?
It was a pretty long game too. It's well worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's a pretty long game.
And that's only to do one route, by the way, because there's so many routes included and different variations you can do along the way.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count when you're like, oh yes, it's 15 hours, but that's like all routes. That doesn't count. This is like, yeah, 8-9 hours, one route. You can then go on to do other routes, which are, yeah, I mean, like, different enough to go and do again, I'd say. It's not like sort of the Mass Effect thing. Well, I never quite understood why people replayed that game, because it's like, yes, I am a good person who's going to do good things, and now I'm going to replay as an evil person, but who fights on the good side and doesn't care. That's the same thing. That is exactly the same thing. There is enough sort of like difference in this game to keep playing. As I said, it's dirt cheap for what the game is, and I was looking online for like just a walkthrough of the game because I was looking for sort of quite an obscure walkthrough, and I couldn't find one, and it's a shame because even when I was looking for this walkthrough, there weren't even many reviews for the game. I don't think it had done as well as they'd intended, which is a real shame because it genuinely is so good. Like, I've played like 5 hours of it. I've enjoyed it. I haven't once started like skipping through whilst quickly sort of like tapping space or anything like that. I've genuinely just enjoyed all of it. It's all been good. So yeah, it's just a shame it hasn't sold as well. Hopefully a few of you'll buy it. And
I mean, I will highly recommend it as well. I mean, this easily went to the top of my VNs list for 2015.
Yeah,
no question about it.
It's a good game. Once I finish it, I'll recommend if it's good. If I'll recommend if it's good or not. So I'll hold my judgment till the end.
Yeah, exactly. I only played, as I said, I got to chapter 4, but Patrick told me before this that it ends well. Like, it ends as I would intend it to end. And I can't tell you how I wanted it to intend to end, but I had an idea what I wanted to do in my mind that a lot of the time the story doesn't do. It's why I haven't enjoyed several sort of, I've been told, complex games, because then I'm like, oh yes, well I want to do this. And then the game's like, oh, well you actually can't do this. And this story is actually quite simple. It's really quite good. You can probably do what you're thinking of in this game. It's brilliant. It's not on Steam, is it? They're looking to get on Steam at some point. Probably. I mean, let's face it.
The full edition.
Yeah, what indie developer isn't? But they're gonna get on at some point. But at some point, someone big is gonna recognize this game, and it will be very good, and it will get the recognition it deserves. But for now, go buy it. It's awesome.
Go right now.
Yeah. I mean, not right now. You can listen to the end of our podcast and then buy it. But after that...
Well, another tab.
Yeah, but
after that, we'll be checking up on you guys to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give you a pop quiz next time, pre-show, and you will show up and we will ask you questions as to whether you played it or not.
Oh, God. How well do you know Visual Novel Talk episode 10? The quiz.
Yeah.
I would fail.
But yeah, anyway, what happened... moving on to our next game, Queen at Arms. Lovely review. For finally, I've got a good fucking game on my channel. It's so rare. So, let's move on to April Was a Fool. Christy, tell us about it in great detail.
Okay, so... April Was a Fool is by another group that actually made another game called Castle Chase. It wasn't that popular, but I played it. I thought it was a little cute short game. So April Was a Fool. So there are these 6 heroes, these 6 world-class heroes that happen to be these big people, obviously. But recently they have become 5 heroes. And that is due to the fact that their wonderful leader, that they all dearly love, and it's shown in each of their routes how they're affected by her loss, died. And you find out that she just died because of a dragon, and again, each character has their own thing with that. So, the king calls upon them because a new threat has come to destroy the world or city. And you play as a character named May who happens to look like April. So the group's like, okay, so listen. If you just play along, and come to the king with us, we'll give you enough money for you to become a hero yourself. And that was supposed to be the end of the story, but she so happens to just want to go on this quest with them to defeat this evil. So she's like, okay, they're like, all right, you'll do this, you'll come. And there are multiple characters. There's even a girl you can romance. I did Erwin, who is this, he's a rogue, and he happens to be a mayor of another town. And in his route, he's the only route I played. I was trying to go on Gabby, but I'm like, I'm gonna go back to Erwin because he's adorable. During Erwin's route, you find out that he was rather close to April to the point that he loved her, and that because he had a really bad habit of stealing things and kind of lying about how he got them. And when April was around, he sort of stopped because he was promised to stop doing this and tell the truth and all this, and he started doing this until April died and everything went to utter shit. Girl at romance named Gabby. She has a little brother who she kind of gets pissed at because he does stupid shit. He's that little cowardly brother that no one seems to like. No one seems to like at all because at least he was annoying to me. You got Gun, who is a mage. And he's a huge masochist. He just likes to hurt his teammates, even though he secretly loves them to death. I feel like he's a character that Chris would love personally, to be honest. Got Kent, he's the energetic guy. Then you got Blake, Gabby's little brother, little coward, and I just didn't like him that much. I was like, I might gonna do your route, but you're a last priority. And how you get on everyone's route is that they suggest a quest for you, how to take down evil. They suggest a quest and do their quest. You get on their route, and that is basically it. And if you get enough affection points with them, you have a little short ending after the credits, and it was cute. That's basically the story. It was cute. Masochism is he's something. I don't know turns very well.
Wait, hang on.
Sadist.
What have I missed between sadist and masochism?
One of the party members, Gun, he is the priest or mage, and he heals his teammates, but he's very sadistic about it. He says, "Oh yes, let me heal you. Your skin's melting off or something, because they got burned by fire. Yeah, let me heal that everything." And he's just a very sadistic motherfucker. I mean,
sadistic
Jesus.
Or melodramatic?
Sadistic. He's sadistic. More sadistic than
he wants to hurt others.
Yeah. Yes, but he loves them. So he loves his teammates secretly, but that's besides.
He wants to hurt them, but he really loves them deep inside.
Yes.
That's what I'm picking up from this anyway.
He is someone you would like, Chris. I feel like I can just make you him. That's the picture I get. When I was playing this, like, that's Chris. See, and I don't know that's a good thing or a bad thing.
See, every time someone has to tell me, hey, Chris, you'd really like this character, I can't help but think, why are they trolling me? Like, I just can't help but feel that every time someone tells me.
So, I played Erwin's route, and he just feels bad that he couldn't be there to protect April from the dragon, and now he's constantly reminded of it. He's like tortured by it, and throughout his route, you torture him because you look so much like April. And at the end, he's very sweet. He meets you at the academy, and it's like, why don't you want after you graduate, would you like to go on an adventure with us? And you're like, heck yeah, I love you and you guys, and a little sweet ending. I don't know how far you guys gotten into the game, though.
I actually got through a whole route myself. When I played this game, I did Blake's route, and actually it's very similar to what you say, because Blake as well had a crush on April, and then through that he relates to your character, and you kind of encouraged him because he was there when April died, and he was unable to save her from the dragon, and so everyone kind of picks on him, saying that he's the weak one. And as you encourage him throughout the game, he kind of builds up his personal strength, eventually overcoming his fears and becoming a true hero.
My God.
And then, so it sounds like it ends up kind of going similar throughout the different routes.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was on the path of Gabby, but then I switched to Rowan because I thought he would be a bit more interesting. And what I gathered from Gabby was that she is constantly tired of protecting her brother. Like, why can't you do this yourself? She gets angry and everything, and that's as far as I've gotten. That's as much as the information I can gather from her, is that she hates protecting her brother even though she really loves him and wants to treasure him. She just wants him to do something for himself. So Chris, how far did you get into this game? I'm wondering.
I got really far into this game actually. Patrick, JP and I sat down last night and we were like, right, we're gonna complete this game. And wow, I got in 30 seconds before we deviated and just started speaking about shit for 2 hours. The call started with such good intentions and then it just went so downhill so quickly.
Yes, you mentioned this to me briefly. Oh man. But what if you were gonna say, were you just like aiming for a route or just playing however you wanted to play?
I'd play however I wanted to play. I normally try and do odd things in games. I don't sort of play them properly. God forbid.
So you probably would have went after a gun, knowing the odd things you like to do.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, Chris. What was it about this game that turned you off so much? If you can even begin to explain.
What, April was a fool? What about was it this game that turned me off so much? How can I say this nicely? April was a fool was a conjunction of physicality spread with Nutella. I don't know. I didn't play it. There's no other way. I can't just bluff myself out of this with big names. As I said, you, I, and JP tried to play this last night, and we just got distracted.
Yes, you told me this. I was trying to cover up for you, but it didn't really work.
Yeah, Patrick
At least
cornered
you're telling
me.
the truth,
There was no
Chris.
way out. I didn't want to say the truth.
Good job, Patrick. Good job. Woo! High five.
I will say for myself, I kind of had to drag myself through this game as well. I wasn't really a big fan of this one. I think mostly because I'm not a big fan of the kind of quirky humor that these games have. I do like humor if it's, I don't want to say done well, because then people are like, well, it's subjective, and yeah, it is to some degree, but this game was just a bit too silly for me.
Okay,
a lot of the dialogue.
Put it this way. Whenever someone says, oh, it's quirky, that always means it's dumb, right?
Yeah, that's how I
Quirky
feel about
means,
it. Yeah.
oh, yes, it's so quirky. It's just like, yes, I bet they conform to all of the stereotypes and it's hilarious. That's not funny. Like, that's just not funny. I don't like quirky humor. I'm not sure if you could tell.
Another downside to this game, like, the character art was fine, but then you get to the backgrounds and you ask, what happened? Why are these sketches? They were terrible. They were just sketches. And they never mentioned this in the post, so I can't say that they were doing this on a timed thing here. I guess they wanted to get it done on April Fool's because obviously the title, but you couldn't have. Why the sketches? They just doesn't mix well with the characters.
That's something I wanted to mention when I did boot it up last night. Okay, you know this cell shading you get in Walking Dead games?
Yes.
Right, and for those that don't sort of know what I mean, when you sort of draw something, it has a sort of like a thick black outline. Everything has a thick black outline. It was like that.
Yeah.
But someone hadn't taken the finished sketch. They'd taken the sketch or two before that. So, like, on the floor, there was just sort of, like, random squiggles, and the windows weren't done properly, because, again, it was just sort of, like, random-ish squiggles. It was like they'd taken the piece before it was done and just been like, right, that's the one we're going to use. That's not the one you should use, but they did anyway.
And, like, at least with Walking Dead, it worked with the character art. I will make an excuse for that. Like
No, the thing is, no, don't get me wrong, that's not what I was saying at all. Cell shading works perfectly in certain regards. What I was saying is that it's like they'd done cell shading, but they'd taken the versions before it was complete.
Oh, okay.
So it was like they were just taking a sketch. It didn't actually matter all that much. Like, they weren't taking the finished article, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind for this VN is rushed, I'd have to say.
Yeah,
it with the art execution.
I can agree. I play only one route, so I can't really say for the other characters, but everyone's route was decent, but I didn't... the background just turned me off completely. I swear. That's what my biggest downfall was with this game. Backgrounds. No.
Yeah. As we don't mention art much on this podcast, but when we do mention it, it's because it wasn't good. Like, the Queen of Arms art was alright. You know, there were a few I think there was one background which made me sort of like look twice and get rid of the text box just to look at it, but other than that, it didn't really sort of turn me on. We only generally mention art when it's bad or really good. This was a time when it was just not as good.
Exactly. So I guess overall, if you want to play this game, one run through would just do it for you, because there's nothing extra if you just do all the routes, to be honest. So
did you like the game though?
I liked it enough. I liked it enough to not say too many bad things about it. I could recommend to people like one playthrough is enough. Just go with your favorite character and just you don't have to play it anymore. And if you like quirky humor, and I sort of like stupid humor, I sort of like stupid humor, so you may like this game. You will probably like this game. But if you don't, if you don't play this game. Just don't. It's not gonna be your cup of tea, at all. Developer wanted to finish the game. Okay. So next game. Game I didn't enjoy myself. I didn't enjoy this one.
It's a game called Cerulean. Have we actually mentioned who the previous games were by?
No, we have not. We've been failing our duties.
April was a fool. I mentioned it was done by a group who made another game called Cast Rush. However, they don't have a group name. That's
all I saw on the Lemonsoft page was that it was done by Rachel Moon and Marky. See, and I'm just googling Queen of Arms now in a really
I was just about to as well.
way to see who it was done by. Does it say who it's done by?
It just has a team information. Aqualoft Games.
So they don't have a
Aqualoft Games.
That's
AQUALUFT Games.
Well, there you are. And it's done by a predominantly female team. And if that's the kind of thing that bothers you, be it female or female, well, you can fuck off.
Yeah.
So...
I was wondering we were going to take that one at first.
No. If that's the kind of thing that bothers you, I didn't care in the slightest. I did not play at any point during Queen of Arms and go, I wonder whether it was a female that wrote this. Doesn't fucking matter. Whether it's a good story or a bad story, male and female can write bad and good alike. Hurrah. Aren't I a messenger for the genre? Cerulean.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
No problem, man. No problem.
Cerulean is our next game. That was by PPP Team. Which doesn't really say a lot. That's what they call themselves. Lyska did writing. Tenshio did sprites and CGs. Laniesa did backgrounds and GUI. And Ultra HR did programming. Now, Laniesa is someone I want to address because... Do you remember when we did Cute Demon Crashes? Patrick?
I do.
And
indeed, I know where you're going with this, yes.
I cast off all of the art as being done by Deji because the sprites looked like they'd been done by Deji, so I naturally assumed in my mind that the backgrounds must have been done by her as well. Turns out, she did the backgrounds, Laniesa, for that game. She told me this like 2 months ago, but I could never properly fit away to say it. in the podcasts, and I thought the backgrounds of that game were quite good. So, well done, Laniessa, for the games in Cute Demon Crashes. This game, however, not as much. It's not as good. There's this bit where you go to, just talking about art here, we're not going to go about the story for a second. There's this bit where you go to a main plaza at the behest of the two characters you're with. And there's railings by the side. Now, this is something I've talked a lot about, perspective. There's railings to the side, and there's a statue in the middle, which is sort of like, it's got like shadow over it. And then there's a building in the background, which is like supposed to be huge, considering the amount of steps on it and like the columns. Imagine if the Colosseum was a building, right? That's the only way I can explain it to you if you haven't played it. So it's supposed to be quite big. However, because of the railings at the side and the statue, it is at best like 12 feet tall. Right? This building's supposed to be huge. And there's just this thing in the background which is 12 feet tall. It looks very odd as well with the conflicting art natures of it, because the building in the background is done... I mean, all the colour of it is exactly the same. Right? It's like someone just clicked on a colour in MS Paint, hit the fill tool, and went, right, that'll do. But on the statue, it's all sort of like coloured in, and there's like shadow from where the statue comes in. It's very odd. But the game in general, you are someone who moved to, enter generic Italian name here. Let's just call it Venice, because it's Venice. It's so much easier calling it Venice. You get everywhere sort of like via boats. There's no other way you can get around. You moved there 2 years ago and you haven't quite fit in with anyone. One day, a boy in your class called Patrick, help me out here, what was his name?
Armand.
Armand. That was how memorable his name was. What was the girl's name?
Pippa.
Pippa.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Pippa.
Yeah. Her real name wasn't Pippa. It was something different. Like, I can't remember. And you're called Charlie. Now, one day from school, you haven't really spoken to many people. This guy asks you, hey, do you want to do a school project with me? And you're like, oh, sure. Why not? Now, there are going to be spoilers for this game, so if you want to play it for whatever reason, by all means, go back, play this game, mute it now, don't listen to this, whatever, skip to the next game. There are going to be spoilers in this game, just because I want to make a few points. But you go along with this guy, and it's a school project about writing about your city. Now, it can be whatever you want, but you don't know a lot about the city. So you and Armand and Pippa go visiting the city. Now, in the beginning, although I forgot to mention, on the way back to your home from the beach, because whatever, all visual novels apparently start from the beach nowadays. We saw this with Cuttlebone and Beach Bounce and God knows how many others. That they start on the beach and you see a puppy. And he's sort of dirty and he runs up to you and you take him back to your home after sort of like endearing him slightly, and your mum goes, yeah, sure, we can keep him as long as you make an effort to find who the real owner is, and if he doesn't have a real owner, well, that's fine, whatever, we'll keep him. So you sort of like take him everywhere from now on. He doesn't really feature that much from then on in. So you go about dicking around all these different places. Now the plaza is the first place you go to, and Pippa, who has been a bit blunt with you, let's be honest, you go there and she starts sketching. And you're like, yo, what you sketching? And she doesn't really say much. And it turns out that she had a misunderstanding a year ago that you said something bad about her, so she's really blunt.
She asked, hey, can I draw you? And she's like, she just laughed.
Yeah,
and she took
exactly,
offense to
yeah.
that.
I was going to get into that, but she laughed, assuming it's a joke, and that was it. It's a misunderstanding from like a year ago that she's still bitter about. So she's like bitter for...
Those preteen girls.
Yeah. Hey now, Patrick, let's not get stereotyping. It was Patrick that said that and not me. But he gets stereotyping, and And they're like, oh, actually, it was one big misunderstanding, and now we're the bestest of friends, and now we all love each other. And you go talking, you go visiting all these different places. At one point, you go visit a sweet shop, and if you don't go visit it in the afternoon, like Armand wants to, because the sales aren't on in the morning, but you have to see the garden according to Peeper at a certain time. I went to the sweet shop in the morning when Armand didn't want to, but Peeper did want to. And Armand was just like, oh God, everyone expects me to be the adult. Oh, and because I have grey hair, people call me grandfather. It's like, no one does that. No, what the fuck are you on? Really? Like, no one says that. Because, like, back in my English school, I can say when I was born, right? There's nothing malicious that can come of that. I was born September the 23rd. So if you're looking to send your gifts, you've got 18 days. Not that I'm implying anything, of course. But
13 days for me.
Exactly. But that means in my year, I was one of the oldest. So, but no one ever was like, oh, look at this. We've got the grandfather over here. Jeez. No one ever does that. But he was just like, oh yeah, the reason I'm getting so angry is because people expect me to be this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm the grandfather. You're 30. No one says that. What the fuck is wrong with you? What? You need to go to a therapist, mate. Like, you have more trouble and more problems than what you're currently expressing.
This is all just because we visited the sweet shop a bit earlier in the day for him.
And he got all pissy and started talking about his life issues, like he has a midlife crisis. Calm down, kid.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was just like, oh, well, no one wanted to go when I said so. Everyone wanted to go in this different place. It's like, yeah, because the garden had to be viewed in a certain amount of time, and the sweet shop is always here. A sweet shop doesn't move. However, the sun in the garden does move. You can see it from different angles. It was just odd like that. And turns out he gets this garden. It's just some bloke's fucking backyard, and he works there, and it's some guy who was angry because you didn't have your dog on a leash earlier, and then if you choose a certain option, he for whatever reason just goes, actually I'm not angry anymore, your dog is really cute because it licked my shoe. And oh, I want to smash my head against the table. Actually, hang on a second. Let me
no.
let me create some room. Hang on.
Okay.
This bit here, right? I'm tapping it with my hand. That was my forehead. Right, awesome.
Damn.
Genuinely, that was... I shouldn't have done that. That hurt my forehead. But whatever, right? That was my forehead. And... yeah, suddenly he falls in love with your dog, and he's like, yeah, sure, you can go back whenever you want. And towards the end of the game, again, spoilers, if you want to play the game, don't play this bit. You just don't listen to this bit, mute, come back in like 5 minutes, right? You come across an alley. I'm skipping a lot because you learn the meaning of the city you're in, and then you can reveal a lovely story and blah blah blah. Choices really don't matter that much in this game, I'll be honest with you. But you get to this street, and your dog, who you got, your wild dog, tries to run down it. Now you can either knock on the door and learn that the old lady inside is in fact the owner of the dog, and the dog is actually called Mimi. I think you can name the dog, can't you?
I think so, because you made a tweet about that.
Yeah. I named the dog, but I'm just quickly... I'm delaying on Twitter so I can find out what I called it, but I've been tweeting a lot recently, so I can't quite remember what it was called. Oh yeah, I called it Fuckface in capitals.
Yeah.
Yeah, how bruised is
It didn't look like a
Tenarium's
dog.
forehead by now?
That was not a dog.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like at the beginning when it was dirty, it looked like a mix between a cow and a goat. Right, that's what it looked like, just flat out. It looked awful. But yeah, you can go to this, you can either choose to walk off and just keep the dog, and then your school presentation is just like, I learned that my school presentation is all about this, and you do quite well. Or you can choose to stay, and the woman there, she's like, oh yes, this is my dog, oh, you found it. So you lose the dog, and then she tells you more about the city you're living. Again, let's call it Venice. And then you go back to the school project and go, yes, well, actually, this woman told me the meaning about living here, and it's actually this. So basically, the moral of the story is, do you want to give up your dog for the sake of half a grade? That's... No. Yeah, exactly. No! I'll keep the fucking dog! Like, the dog is clearly the thing I love. I mean, I can give a fuck about animals. I'd give away the dog for half a grade, but whatever. Like, you know, that aside, that's all the game amounts to. That's all there is. But,
and it's like, the lady wasn't even looking for her dog, to be honest. She wasn't putting any effort. If she was, she would have been looking. Posters would have been
she didn't even fucking go outside. We put more effort into the dog, and we were the ones who found it. There was nothing attached to the dog. There was nothing. But, Patrick, you unequivocally loved this game. You actually said earlier that if it's not your top visual novel this year, you'd be surprised. I made that quote up. He didn't say that.
Well, yeah, Tenarium's exaggerating quite a little bit, but I did say, because Tenarium was going off on this one about how terrible it was on... I think we were just talking on Skype at the time, and I said, actually, it was...
I didn't say how terrible it was. My problem was is that it was vaguely enjoyable, but it didn't really have a plot at all. Nothing happened. It was like an unenjoyable episode of MASH. I've brought it up on the podcast before that if you're not going to have a
MASH
plot...
comes up in every other episode of this podcast.
Exactly, because of how relevant it is. Because if you don't have a plot, at least make it vaguely interesting. At least make the ride interesting. But they don't. They try and pretend they have a plot, and they don't. And the choices make close to no difference. You get half a grade and lose a dog, or you lose half a grade and keep the dog. There's no difference. That is it.
Well,
should I go on and explain my view of this one then?
Oh, man.
By all
means,
go on and explain your dog, but remember this is a democracy and there are two people disagreeing against you.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care. So I didn't find this one to be that terrible because, I'm very edgy, of course.
I do hasten to add, I've been joking about Patrick liking this game. Literally his defense has been, it's not completely terrible. So, just bear that in mind, will you? Well,
because essentially all that there is to this game, and I didn't say it was an intricate plot, but the plot is basically this young girl trying to find herself in friendship in a small town, and essentially she gets this project to try to find out what I think they put it, what the heart of the city is. And so she goes on these... slice of life. I know, I always make fun of slice of life because I call it more like a slice of shit with most of these visual novels, but... This one I didn't mind too much because, so she gets asked to go on this project with the guy, Armand, and then Pippa tags along even though they don't get along at first, and they go on these various outings to try to find what the meaning to the city is. So they get out to the one place, and that's where they kind of confront their past issues, Cello and Pippa, about the whole incident with the painting and how it was all just a big misunderstanding. So they come around on it, and then they start to become better friends. And what's the second place you go to? You go to the theater, which... A couple of these places, I will admit, because like I said, I didn't say this game was perfect. There's a lot of scenes where I don't think it really added much to it. They could have cut down on like half of the scenes, and it probably would have been
just again, I'm going to reiterate, when Patrick said that this game isn't as bad as I made it out, that doesn't mean that he thought it was any good either. Like, that doesn't mean he sat down and went, wow, this is really good. No, that didn't happen.
But yeah, then the second day you find out about the whole thing with Armand, which was ridiculous, and I didn't appreciate. But then you do go to, like you mentioned, Chris, the garden where the guy is. And so what you find out from him is that the dog kind of reminds him of his sister's dog, which it was kind of a clue as to what was going on there. And the next day you go and you see the woman who the dog actually belongs to. And then she goes on for a bit about, growing up in the town and all this other banter. I mean, it's hard to really to describe because, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I kind of got where they were going. And the point of the whole game was basically that the heart of the town is essentially what you make of it. It's growing up, the friendships you make, the things you do, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's very, very chipper and probably not for everyone's taste. It's not really my taste, but I kind of got its message, and I didn't mind it so much because it was a cute game, had a cute little message, and that's all there was to it. It's mostly fluff, but I didn't mind this one too much because it at least had a point, and it stuck mostly to that.
Yeah, see, I'd argue its point was completeless. Like, it was completely useless. It was just about, hey, you'll discover
You're
The
saying that
feeling
this
of-
girl had no arc at all, though, essentially, because there is an arc in the game.
No, there's not an
The main
arc.
character.
It's
Mhm.
someone after 2 years bothers to speak to her. And then after a while, they make friends. That's not an arc.
It's about awkward childship, which a lot of people have.
After 2 years?
2 years?
Hey, this person,
No.
yeah, they haven't really got on with anyone in class in 2 years, but actually, after
Once
2
again, I'm not
years,
saying
hang
that
on a
it was
second, I'm just gonna
done
walk
well,
up
that
to
wasn't
her,
exaggerated.
Hey, you have no friends, but do you want to, like, be friends with me? Like, no! What? You haven't spoken to me in 2 years. What the fuck are you doing? But other than that,
Like I
yeah,
said,
it's a great game.
Yeah, it's a great game otherwise. It's exaggerated and it's silly, but it has an arc. Shello gets together with her two friends. She kind of finds a bit of meaning to the town in that what a town isn't anything like special about landmarks or sites or famous things that happen, but it's essentially friendships. And that's what growing up in a small town's kind of like. Essentially, it's what you put into it, your memories that you have of the town and the times you spent there.
But yeah, sorry, Christy thinks we're fighting.
Mama Patrick and Papa Chris, stop! Please.
Patrick, do you want to kiss and make up?
Yeah, whenever we get together for a con, we'll take a picture
Hang
of
on,
that.
I'll just make this sound into the microphone. Blah, blah, blah. There you are. I've tongue-kissed you now.
There we go.
So you can't do anything about that. Christy, you were avoided from that. You managed to get away from the
Okay,
microphone in
good.
time.
Alright, nice.
Awesome.
I
So
really backed up. So,
yeah, as soon as I saw it, it gave me the Cuttlebone vibe, said Chiak in chat.
I would
What is
disagree with that
Cuttlebone?
very much. So.
Exactly!
No, it's not Cuttlebone. Cuttlebone went off to utter pointlessness. This game stuck mostly to that one concept.
To be fair, Cuttlebone was just pointless. It was like a half an hour insert of someone's life. This isn't
It's like, let's
a
include
half
this
an
going
hour
to the beach.
insert of someone's life. This is clearly someone else, but it's still really boring.
Yeah, it's Cuttlebones. A guy goes to the beach with a friend. They talk about movies for a bit. They go looking for Cuttlebones for a bit. Then he talks about her social anxiety issues for a bit. Which had no part whatsoever because there's no other characters in the game.
Yeah, it may as well have had just like a rapper come in and like rap on the beach for all the relevance it had. It made no sense. Yeah, let's move on to the next game, shall we? 6 rules.
Okay, yeah, 6 rules. Another one that I greatly appreciated. Okay, so 6 rules is a game that is set in, I suppose it's supposed to be something like feudal Japan. And what you have are these 2 Japanese clans, which are the Minamotos and the Tairas. And what you have to understand about the relationship between these 2 clans is, again, it's essentially a play on another story. It's kind of like the Montagues and the Capulets or the Hatfields and the McCoys. It's 2 feuding families that have had violence between each other, and they don't really get along all the time. And at the point where the game begins, the Minamoto clan have gone to hiding because at one point or another they were attacked by the Taira clan and they were all but wiped out. So they're hiding out in the woods somewhere and they set up like a cabin or a house or whatever the hell they have set up. So they essentially set up these 6 rules for themselves to follow in order to preserve themselves and to avoid getting wiped out by the Tairas. And the rules, as they are 1, you must not let any strangers into the house, preferably not even into the forest in which we reside. 2, if you spot any strangers loitering around the property, alert us immediately. 3, you may converse with strangers as a gesture of friendliness, but never tell them where the house is located. We are hiding for safety, after all. 4, do not accept anything from trespassers. Do not give things to trespassers either. 5, I repeat, never talk about Fight Club. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's the Taira family. And 6
Are you
again,
sure about that?
got it. Do not trust the Taira clan. That's what it reminded me when I first saw that game. Because they repeat the 5th rule twice, and of course immediately the thing I think of is Fight Club, naturally. But unfortunately, the rest of this game does not go as Fight Club did. And what happens?
I like this game actually, and the ending.
Really?
I really like the ending.
What? We're talking about 6 rules, and you're saying that you actually really like this game.
I like the ending.
You have 60 seconds to explain yourself.
Whoa! no!
We haven't gotten to the heart of the story yet. Maybe we should at least give some more backstory.
All right, do that, and
I just
then
got to
you've
the
got
part with the
60
rules.
seconds to explain yourself.
So you play as this guy. It's a really short story, so it's quick to go over. You play as this guy named Ryuji, who's a member of the Minamoto family. And one day he goes out into the woods and he finds this young girl who's sleeping. And initially he's annoyed because he was gonna like practice his fencing or some shit. And he's about to walk away, but then she wakes up and tugs at him, and then he explains, essentially who he is. He kind of like goes off right away, breaking every single rule down the line. And immediately from the beginning of the game, you could already tell what happens.
Yeah, I
Ryuji's a
wonder
member of the
what's
Minamoto
happening
family.
By me
This girl named
talking
Yuki, who do you think
to
she's
a
gonna
girl
be?
in the forest, and the rules, 6 rules, tell me to not speak to anyone, not tell anyone where the house is, not speak to anyone of the Tyra family. And he manages to break all of the rules.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
massive spoilers. The girl that he meets in the forest just so happens, oh so coincidentally, to be a member of the Tyra family.
You find that out within like 10
But
minutes
the
of the
kid-
game.
Yeah, the kid
The
doesn't
game
give a
itself
fuck.
for like 30
No,
minutes.
he doesn't care. He's like, oh, I don't care. I'm still gonna hang out with you. I just thought the ending was cool. That's it.
Well, the funny thing is, he's not even rebellious, he's just stupid.
Yeah.
He just realizes
stupid. He
after
is
the
a fucking
fact,
moron.
oh, I shouldn't have told her that.
Yeah, he gets what he deserves in the ending, and that's what I liked. There you go, my 60 seconds.
So hang on, you like that someone stupid got punished? Is that what you're trying to say?
Fuck yes, yes, and that doesn't happen.
And a whole bunch
lot
of
with
other
kids.
people got wiped out for that as well.
Yeah, like his
kids stupid
whole
as fuck.
So what you're saying is that if your future like boy says something stupid, it's fine if like someone comes and just kills every one of you.
Okay.
That's just fine because like he got
That's a
punished
different
and
degree.
that doesn't happen enough. It's fine.
Well, I thought this was gonna be, like when I first started the game, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be one of those stories where, oh, don't judge a book by its cover, or some stupid crap, and the ending's like, oh, Yuki, the girl, is secretly a bitch, and she does have her reasons. If you did play the other point of view in the extras, she explains why she did what she did. I don't know if Patrick was gonna get into that, but
I did
She
see that part,
basically-
but yeah, you could...
yeah, spoilers. Mute us if you want to actually play this connected novel, but
You don't
Basically-
want to, it's fine. Listen on.
Yuki just wipes out Yoji's entire family, and he gets locked in prison because he's blamed for it. And she's there, kind of like in a black kimono, repeating the 6 rules to him, kind of like saying, "Oh, you're a fucking." She literally says, "You're a moron. You're an idiot for not following your rules. What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Girl, thank you." And yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah, just yeah.
Did you just turn into a Harlem teenage girl? Did I just miss something? Oh, girl, you got it going on. You got it go. Oh, you showed him. You showed
Murder
him.
those assholes.
Those. Oh, yeah. He deserved it. He did, girl. Did I miss something?
He had it coming.
He had it coming, basically, and I'm like, yes, don't be. Chris, Patrick, you take over before I die from laughing, please.
Oh, yeah, what do I say about this game?
It was
Yeah,
really
I didn't like this
good.
one because it's immediately predictable. You could tell from the moment it starts with the rules exactly what's going to happen. The only question I had was it going to be a case of, you know, don't judge a book by its cover where they kind of get along in the Romeo and Juliet kind of way? Or is it just going to be one of those turns where he's going to betray his family and not even realize it because she's actually plotting against him? And it did turn out to be the latter.
I have bias. I knew how this was going to end because do you know who made this game? Which you probably didn't mention.
Oh, dear Miracle.
Who was it? I don't know.
Soya Sushi
Mir-
Productions.
Yeah,
Ah.
the same person who did Dear Miracle.
Dear Mariko.
Dear Mariko, yes.
Dear Mariko, they also did that awful game we covered, and they were like in a cave, and you can see it from different people's perspectives. Do you remember that one?
Oh, that one too. Yeah, it kind of makes
Yeah,
sense
they
then.
made from that one.
The same ones.
But I'm still holding hope because they once made Reprints of Nigeria, which was really funny. Right, it was about being
Yeah, that
scammed
game was
by a
good.
Nigerian prince, and then you sort of like see at the end. Because they're sort of known for like going back on a different perspective, which is what they did with this game, because you can then play it back from the girl's perspective, and it's just like, oh no, I didn't want to do this, I just saw a boy, and oh, well, it's me, but then like she ended up killing him anyways, or whatever. But they do sort of do retraces of other paths, other than Dear Mariko, but Dear Mariko is about finding out the true ending anyway. So like in Prince of Nigeria, you know, the inverted commas good ending is finding out, no, is being scammed by the Nigerian prince, but then you look at it from another perspective and it shows out that she knew all this all along. She was just finding it out because she suspected one of her co-workers was being it at the time. In this game, it's just, yeah, whatever. It's so obvious. Like, if you don't see the twist coming, you're a fucking idiot, right? There's a, and I say this as someone who sort of knows very quickly what's going on with mysteries or dramas and knows very quickly who's done it, right? That aside, you know what's going to happen here as soon as it happens, and they imply it all the way throughout, and then it happens and you're not surprised, and then you see it from another perspective and turns out, oh, it's exactly as I expected. It's exactly... nothing new comes of this game.
You just, in the other perspective, you get the perspective of Yuki, and you find out, like, why she was given it and why she does it, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay. I mean, that's cool and all, but she still did it.
Exactly, but...
I almost forgot to mention, although it's not tangential to the story, there's one thing about this writing that really bothered me. Because this is a game that's set in Japan, of course. Every name is in Japan. Yeah. There's one line in this game, though, where I forget what it was, but they're saying something, and essentially like, well, we can't let every Tom, Dick, and Harry into the forest. And I'm like... All right, first of all, that's a really old saying. And second, they're in Japan. There are no Tom, Dick, and Harrys around. It's feudal Japan.
It's not even that. It's because you're supposed to be in Japan. And
that's what your character's thinking.
Yeah, it's the character's internal narration / like monologuing. He's not going to think that. It's the same way as someone in Spain isn't going to think, oh yeah, well, I can't let any Tom, Dick and Harry in there. No, he's going to think, oh, I can't let any Jose, Pepe and Paco come in. He's not going to, oh yeah, Tom, Dick and Harry. No! Grumble, grumble, grumble. It was one of those uses of a sentence which just made no sense. And it's just in Japan because YOLO people love Japan.
It's usually like the inverse of what usually happens when we have Japanese sayings in games that are otherwise with English characters, which is funny.
Yeah, this shit happens all the time. But the same thing I said during Dear Mariko, I'll say now. Prince of Nigeria is really good. If you haven't played Prince of Nigeria yet, go and play Prince of Nigeria. It's better. Like, it's honestly a really good game. It's funny. It's everything you'd want. And then the 3 games they've made from them have been like, oh yes, well, it's suspicious, but I know what's going to happen. And then there's an extra point of view afterwards, but I knew what was going to happen. What? Basically, this person's story would become so much better with, like, if they just wrote comedy, because comedy appears to be where they did alright.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the subtlety of this game certainly wasn't very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It was even intended to be, which I don't even know if it was.
I don't think there was supposed to be comedy in that. Oh god, I hated that. As soon as we started to speak, we were like a fearless warrior, and then someone started to speak to us, and it was just like, oh, I don't know what you mean. Oh, stop stuttering. Oh, please stop stuttering. Please, please stop stuttering. What is it with anime and stuttering?
Oh, please don't. Oh, that.
Does that trigger you, Christy?
It triggers me deeply.
I can hear this. Well, do you want to move on to the next game? The wonderful
please,
game.
Let me vent all that out.
Beach Bounce. I heard that you actually really like this game and you want to give it a 10 out of 10.
Who told you that? No.
I made that up just on the spot right now.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, best game of the year, better than Wayne Cloud. No.
7.5 IGN.
Too many boobs. So, beach bounds are the pinnacle of shit. And I thought Wayne Cloud was bad. No. No. So, beach bounds
You
is an
haven't said
episodic...
who made it yet. You have to say
AJ
who
Tilly.
makes it.
AJ Tilly made this, so you already know the quality. You probably should already know the quality. If you played Cerulean, that was, I guess, decent. I haven't played it, but I was hurting.
It wasn't. It
wasn't.
Really,
So
yeah,
you
was
know
terrible.
what you're getting into, but just think much worse. Much worse. So, AJ Tilly made this game, blah, blah, blah. Beach Bounce is an episodic visual novel, which means right now there are 3 episodes planned. Week 1, which is the episode, was just released, and Episode 2 will be released in October. Episode 3, the final episode, will be released in December.
I bet it won't. I bet it won't. I'll hold my hand up and go like, no, it's not.
I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised. So, you play as this guy named Tomoyo. He is on holiday after just leaving his dad. He found recently that he has a grandmother named Umi who runs this beach resort. Of course she would run a beach resort, right? Right? So you go ahead and meet her and find out that she is, spoilers, for 30 seconds, if you even want to play this game, why would you? That she is going to die. She has some terminal illness that is never explained. She's just dying of visual novel illness.
Spoiler alert.
Okay. And spoiler, visual novel illness is what's killing her. So you are now you are sort of in charge. You were possibly going to be the next owner of the Beach Bounce, and yes, that's what is the resort's called. I am not kidding you. But only episode 1 came out. So you sign to work at the Beach Bounce, and you come across numerous girls quickly. Like, bang, bang, bang. You meet them. And Chris was getting on. Chris was talking about stuttering. There is an annoying girl in this game named Minako who stutters like there's no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Every word she says, stutter, stutter, stutter.
It makes no sense that, like,
it doesn't.
You speak to your grandmother and you call her grandmother, and she's like, no, don't call me that. Call me grandma. Like, we don't have any place to be formal here. And then her understudy, who is Yuki, who she holds most closely, is just like, oh, hello, Mom. Can I do anything to offer you? I have a grand repertoire of things I can show you. Why do you have an understudy that speaks like that? That makes no sense.
I don't know. But Minako is one of the girls. She happens to be a greeter who just greets people, brings them to rooms. Then you got Yuki, who Chris just mentioned. She happens to work at the front desk. She's in charge of everything. She helps you get settled into the Beach Bounce. But not quite as settled as you may think, as everyone else does. You meet her half-sister, Sakura, who bangs you the day you meet her. The day you meet her. You want to know how you do it? You can't drink beer at the bar because it will just be like, oh, you're just like my dad who died. And he was like drunk all the time. You have to drink both all the time, the entire way through, to get her to bang you. And
can I just point out now how much of a good idea it was to invite Christy on the podcast? This is why we wait so long and secure a quality guest. Can I just point that out now?
It's so nice seeing someone else being outraged by this for once.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice being more than just myself and Patrick just being like, oh, this is so shit!
And so she bangs you out right on the spot, but she's not the only one. You meet Ray, who is a tsundere. She hates you for, she thinks you're like a stranger and whatever.
She's a tsundere. And she doesn't need a reason to hate you. She just
doesn't. She just straight up doesn't.
It's the way she's born.
The day after you work with her, the day of, I'm not gonna say the day of, she doesn't give that much time. She's like, I love you. Oh my god, I just love you. I just want you to take and sign me. Like, no! It doesn't work like that, I swear! I was raging at my computer when I was like, we should just get lost over with and see if there are any true feelings. I'm like, oh, what the hell? is wrong with this game? Who wrote this? And I looked at the credits, Chris Herman's, whatever. We need to talk because I swear you need... I don't know what's going on. And then the only decent girl, and yes, I'm saying this, there's a decent girl in this game. Aiko. And those like the characters you get introduced to fully. There is another girl who is a guest named Nymph.
Wait,
Nymph,
hang on.
whatever.
Aiko. Aiko's the one who hates you in the beginning of the car
No, that's
parking
right.
lot. Oh.
That's right. The blue...
So
yeah,
Aiko
Aiko's the
is
redhead.
Yuki.
No, Aiko is the redhead girl. Yuki is black glasses. Sakura's purple hair.
the sister.
Minako's...
The sister. She's the one from the picture that we, how do we put this slightly? Refused for this stream.
Yeah, she...
Alright, hang on. I'm gonna link to her now in chat. Because I think I can do that, and then, look,
Yeah, you
people
can
who
link
aren't in chat who are watching this video afterwards,
Quick
well, that's just your fucking fault for not being there on time, isn't it?
Mhm.
If you were here watching this live, you'd know, wouldn't you?
And so, there is another girl who you briefly meet named Nymph. You save her like twice. She somehow was drowning in a hot tub. I swear to God. Like, some viewer of mine, she went out to the ocean, and someone said I give her like a minute or two before she starts drowning. I'm like, I give her a few seconds. And she's like, oh, she makes you come into your hotel room on the last minute of the episode. And she's like, I need to repay you. She's dressed up in her bra and panties. Like, no, we're not doing this. Are you serious? No, lady, are you kidding me?
Hang on a minute,
And
wasn't this the only character you liked?
No, Aiko was the one I liked. She's the lifeguard.
Who are we talking about at the moment?
Nymph, I'm talking about the guest who has two different colored eyes, and she...
Oh, right, okay, the one I
nearly
didn't
killed
see.
herself
Okay,
before.
yeah, I was getting confused.
Yeah, you didn't see because you didn't finish this, and I don't blame you. I will never blame you for that.
And for the record, I didn't even start with this one.
Yeah.
So,
I just abstained entirely.
Yeah, I hasten to
talking
add,
about this.
I only started Beach Bounce because it's becoming a running joke between JP and I, where I'm just like, look, if you can get me code, I'll happily play it on my channel for you. And that's a joke, which means I'm not going to play it. He fucking came through this time. I was just like, yeah, well, if you have code for it, by all means, I'll play Beach Bounce, sure. And then he sent me a code. I was like, fuck you. That's a Beach Bounce code, isn't it? Oh, fuck. It actually is a Beach Bounce code, isn't it? Oh, fuck you. That's the only reason I've played this game. Otherwise, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, coming through when it mattered the most.
And it's the story basically non-existent. Who cares, girls? Who cares? Aiko's like the only tolerable one. And then this game was kickstarted. All right, kickstart. All right, we got Kickstarter. You're gonna get all the funds to make your game as best as you can. And I expected sound effects. Guess what? Every time you enter something, like you enter like a restaurant, right? You get like two asterisks, like opening of door. No sound effects, opening of door. That's what you get. And
I hate to tease, but when you first started going on with every time you enter something, and we're talking about this game, I was thinking about something else entirely.
And like you do that, and there's another one where it's like the kiss. Okay, I understand kissing sound effect. I don't want that, but they literally put the word kiss with asterisks on the character's lips. That's it. Not CG, which I
Good enough.
CG for that. Just literally kiss on the lips, and the screen turns slightly pink. Has like a pink tint to it. And I was just completely getting so angry with this game. And yes, by the way, for everyone who's probably wondering about my sanity, I've gone that crazy enough to actually still keep playing this game because I hate myself that much. And the writing was terrible. There was spelling mistakes all over the place, so much so I added an error counter in part 2, and in total, because I did half points and full points depending on the error, I got 45 points. 45 points. Within a span of 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5, it's like 4 parts. 4 or 5 parts, I'll give it that. 45 mistakes. That's not including the beginning. That's not including the beginning where story progression was one word. Or they used the wrong 2 in a sentence. No one spell check this game. The writer needs to get someone. Like, writer needs to talk to someone.
Yeah, I'm part 2 and I think I counted like 8 or 9 spelling mistakes, which I think for a commercial release I hear pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, and I think there are even more spelling mistakes in the Rated 18 version, and you can easily patch that with the Steam version because they actually released a patch. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm not even gonna go through that. I might do it for episode 2 and 3, just put the patch in, see what I can find. But this game is terrible. No, there's nothing good about it. If you want a good laugh, I'm gonna plug my channel and check out my Let's Play at HusbandoGoddess Beach Bounce. Watch me suffer. Alright? The end of self-promotion.
Or,
don't play this game.
if you'd like to go there manually, it's youtube.com/KRISTI78968.
968. Look at that. And you'll be able to find my Let's Play.
She has a very amusing channel. I've been there myself. You can go there and subscribe and have all of the things and be beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Oh, that just brought up my mood a lot. From the really a lot of rage. So don't play this game. Don't play this game. I got a key for this game because I was like, you know what? I'll play this game because it looks like this thing I should have on my channel. Looks like something I can make fun of. Even with that, I said in like my video, this was a mistake. This was the mistake for me to bring this on my channel. A mistake.
Yeah, I was only challenged to bring this on my channel. I wouldn't have, had I known that JP would genuinely bring up a code for me to play this game. So
essentially, there's no reason to play this willingly, unless someone is...
No, we're both playing it against our will. That's what we're trying to convey.
Oh, man. Is there a plot? Outside of... Actually, no.
No.
I can't... There's no plot. I tried to make an excuse. No, there's no plot.
Bang
There's
all
literally
of the
no
hot
plot.
girls who work there. That's the plot.
Yeah.
Do you like hot girls?
Oh.
Then you're in luck.
You're sad. You're sad. And I swear, the grandma looks way too young for her age. If you need a picture of the grandma, she has no wrinkles whatsoever. She just has the gray hair. And my friend and I were joking. She could possibly be someone you could have sex with before the game is over. I will not put it past this game for that to happen. I swear to you. Not put it past this game. That would probably happen.
I'm glad you said that and not Patrick and I. At least we're not courting the controversy for once.
This time.
Yeah.
Skirt it for once.
This time. So don't play this game.
So what you're saying is that you enjoyed Beach Bounce?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Immensely.
Awesome.
They had all the
10 out of
care
10.
and love put into it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I think what we're trying to say is Beach Bounce is terrible. If you
Yeah.
haven't garnered that from my channel, and if you haven't watched the playthrough and you're really here to watch the podcast with Patrick and I, that's more than fair enough. But, oh boy, it was bad. I am 3 parts in at the moment, and Jesus Christ, it's really bad. You haven't. You really haven't missed anything by watching this. But I think that was our last game to cover in this episode. I see something on our notes that, I mean, I'm not saying...
Something that shall not go mentioned.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Patrick and I didn't mention it, but it's something that was implied earlier and Christy wrote. But, I mean, for the sake of not being in prison... For the sake of not being in prison, I won't mention what's written.
I didn't write. I only wrote one word, and that was the word. I don't know who wrote the rest. That was not me.
Sure. Right. Well, yes.
It wasn't.
That was the end of episode 10. We'll go on to our end of the Q&A. But officially, that's the end of the episode. So thank you very much for watching our review of everything and drama and news and so on. And goodbye.
Thank you everyone for watching, and take care.
Please take care. Don't play Beach Bounce ever in your life. Love you.